Hang on a second. Turn off this big light here. Hello, everyone. Hi, nice to see you. That's better. That is better. How you doing? Welcome to Positively Spiritual. My name is Shannon Gilmore. Oh, funky hair. Ooh. How you doing? All right. So let's just wait for people to come on in. All right. Oh. Hello, Meredith. How you doing? Nice to see you. Hello, Diane. Nice to see you. How are you? Okay, so yeah, funky hair today. Whatever. I just blow dried it, so it's still wet. So I was running late today, guys. Okay, so whatever. Okay, good enough. Good enough. Not here to look beautiful. We're here to listen to a message. There we go. So, hi. Hello, Robert. How you guys doing? How are you doing, Robert? Nice to see everyone. And today we're going to talk about self-parenting. This comes from this morning. I was just perusing Instagram and I came across a video where there was a mother and she was what is called soft or gentle parenting. And that got my dander up. I was just like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. And I know this woman, she made a comment and she goes, please don't comment about my self-parenting. She goes, I wanted to show you guys how I was really trying to keep it together. I was really trying to just, show no emotion and just try to reason with her child. And yes, I did make a comment, one or two. But what I saw was maybe the parent couldn't see this, but what I saw, oh, thank you, Robert. That's so sweet. Hello, Curtis. Nice to see you. Hi. What I saw from the child was alarming because the child was actually, this was a toddler, maybe 14 months, maybe 2 years old. He was hitting his mother in the face. Like right in the face, like thunk. And she's just like, please don't hit mommy in the face. And you could tell the laugh wasn't genuine. You could tell like he was trying to evoke something from his mom. Like you could tell, you could hear it. The child his face wasn't on camera, so you could see his hand he hit his mom about 3 or 4 times. And she's like, please don't hit mommy. That hurts mommy. That makes mommy sad. But she's not showing sadness. And she's just trying to get her son to stop by reasoning with him. And I was just like, You can hear it in the kid's voice. You can hear it in the toddler's voice, his laughter. We talked about laughter the other day. You know when kids laugh. You know that belly laugh. You know it, and it's infectious. But this laughter wasn't infectious. This laughter fell flat. And, his mother reasoning with him didn't stop this child from hitting his mom a second time, a third time. Hello, Resistor. How you doing? Nice to see everyone. Okay, so we've got a message. Okay, sorry. Message is held for review. It was withheld for a reason. Can't unsee that. All right, so in watching this video of this parent, gentle parenting or soft parenting her child, She even, like I said, she made a comment, please don't talk to me about gentle parenting. That's not what this is. But yes, that's what this was. She said, I was just trying to stay calm, be calm. No, you remove yourself from this situation. If you are going to hit mommy, you are going to go sit in your playpen. If you are going to hit mommy and laugh, it's not nice to laugh. It's not nice to hit mommy. If you are going to hit mommy, then you are going to sit by yourself without mommy on the floor, and I'm not going to hold you. You're not going to be able to sit with me. That's the rule. You want to sit with mommy, you be nice to mommy, right? There's got to be consequences. So this video that I watched is the reason for this video today. Because self-parenting, soft parenting is grooming your child and setting them up to stay narcissistic. See, this child was exercising his right, just like we learned on Samson yesterday, how Samson had a dual nature. He had the power of God, but he didn't use his power for good. He used it to serve his own purposes. Well, that's what children do. We've got this Holy Spirit power in us, and we're trying to shape it and mold it to what we want. And that's what children do. That's what we do. We throw things, we hit things, we put things in our mouths, and we explore. So this child was exploring, but exploring their narcissistic personality, as even psychologists, and I can agree, because God says that every person, we all have a nature that is contrary to God, and that's the narcissistic personality. So this child was expressing his right to tap into that and explore that. Okay, fine. Well, you're allowed to explore it, but you're going to reap consequences. You keep hitting mom, you're not going to, you're not going to spend time with me. A little tap on the butt won't hurt, but, apparently we can't do that these days. You spoil the rod, spoil the child. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that this video that I saw had me think about narcissists and the little narcissist that is being made to come out, that is allowed to express itself on his parents. So, when dealing with a toxic person, the way that you have been trying to manage the situation your way is not working. Hi, Cynthia. How you doing? Hello, Boone. Nice to see you. Welcome. Hello, Sam. Hello, everyone. Wow, we're getting a crowd today. Welcome. I hope this video is going to help you understand narcissism and how you can treat yourself and the narcissist better, because we don't recognize that we are soft parenting the narcissist as we are soft parenting ourselves in that narcissistic relationship. Yeah, we're going to get into that. So welcome. My name is Shannon Gilmore. I am a peer support mentor, not a therapist, but people say I am, like a therapist, which I appreciate. Thank you very much, because it's my honor to help you, but that's my greatest wish, is to see you rising up in life and doing the best that you can live. You deserve it. You deserve to feel the glory of God, to see it and live it through your life. So we're all family here, so welcome. Get in on the chat, but please mind your manners. Just please be kind. That's all. If ever you want to talk, hi Fred, nice to see you. If you guys ever want to talk, there is a link in the description of this video. And also, you can email me with your comments, questions, and suggestions, shannongilmore@protonmail.com. Now, I have included as a link in the description an ebook called Talk the Talk, Asserting Your Way into Healthy Relationships. This is an ebook that challenges you to, as I give you some workable phrases that help you assert yourself when communicating with a narcissist. Instead of just letting it go, instead of just letting it slide, you step into those, what we call healthy boundaries. You step into guardianship over yourself. And you say, hey, no, I will not tolerate you talking to me like that. And you don't even have to say it like that. I mean, that may work with a coworker, but that may not work with your spouse. So we try to figure out how to best communicate in that ebook. So you can pick it up for yourself. Just click the link and you can download it, and bada boom, bada bing, it's right there at your fingertips. And there you go. Knowledge is power. So I hope, and you know what? I hope it works for you. And if it does, or if you've got negative or positive feedback, let me know, because I'm here to just grow with you, and I just want to get better and to serve you guys and help you guys. So with that said, hello V Basic, how you doing? I'm an atheist. Okay, well, I'm a Christian. Nice to meet you. How you doing? Welcome to this channel. Whatever is on your mind, you're welcome to speak your truth, but we are not here to give an argument. I'm not here to debate the word of God with you, so you're welcome to listen and learn. We're certainly not going to, we do talk about Jesus on this channel because that's what this channel is about, but we're not here to convince you. You are convinced by yourself. We let the Holy Spirit do his job. So if you have questions, by all means ask, but please make them genuine and be respectful. And if you want to talk about it, you are welcome to email me at shannongilmore@protonmail.com. So you know that when dealing with a toxic person, the way that you have been trying to manage the situation your way isn't working. Why? Hang on a sec. Okay. Oh, people, trolls. Sorry. Okay, so why is the way that you're trying to approach and try to manage this situation with the narcissist, why is it not working? Well, you're being kind, you're respectful, you are patient. Hi, Helix, how you doing? So you're patient and you're kind and you're giving, and it just doesn't seem to be working. You have given this toxic person every opportunity to correct their behavior, but they don't change. Why? Because the only way you are going to change someone's behavior is by changing your own. The way you treat a narcissist is not working because you are not seeing them as how they want to be seen. And you are not seeing the narcissist from the perspective of how they see you. Hi, Joe. Nice to see you. Welcome. Come on in. Well, thank you for that assessment, Helix. Are you projecting? Is that how you feel? Stick with us. You're going to gain some brain cells. So welcome. Wow. You need some help with that, huh? Bots and trolls. I only insult trolls or bots, okay? I only do that, we're here to just help each other. So it sucks to be them. Oh well. So the way that you treat a narcissist is not working because the narcissist, from their perspective sees you differently than how you see yourself, obviously, but how they see everybody is one and the same. And looking at this video of this woman soft parenting her child, this is the first time I've ever heard of this term, soft parenting. I'm just like, what? Are you serious? Okay, so it's a thing. And then it got me thinking, because this is exactly how we treat the narcissist with soft parenting tactics. as we treat ourselves with soft parenting tactics. It's okay. You can hit yourself. You can do this to yourself. You can, live in lack. You can punish yourself. It's okay. You deserve it. Like, seriously. The only way you are going to survive the dynamic between you and the narcissist is to treat them as a parent treats a child, but not with this gentle or soft parenting. We're talking about narcissism. Hi, Bick, or Bicky. Hi, nice to see you. Hi, death is the only way out. How are you? Wow. We've got lots of people coming in. Welcome to see everyone. So, when a parent deals with their child, regular parenting that is healthy includes respect, boundaries, calm authority. And yes, this self-parenting is also how we address ourselves. And if you're a parent, you know this, but if you don't know this, the best way because if you're not a parent, you may not know this, but the best way then I can describe this is, say you have a pet, whatever the pet may be, a goldfish, a cat, a dog, a ferret, a squirrel, a mouse, a gerbil, rabbit, whatever, even a lizard, whatever it is, whatever it is, the pet that you own, you are parenting that pet. You are making that animal comfortable. You're providing a shelter and a stable, healthy environment. You're feeding them, you're interacting with them, you groom them. This is providing for the basic needs of this animal, but you're also establishing a relationship with them. And they they exercise their animalistic qualities on you, and you're just like, no, you can't bite me. No, you can't scratch. No, you can't bite my table. No, you cannot chew the wires, So you're putting healthy boundaries based on your limits. Like, you definitely don't want an animal chewing your wires. You don't want them chewing the cable cord to your TV, or the electrical cord, right? They're going to get zapped. So this is the same thing with your children. You don't want your children sticking a fork into the light socket. That would not be good, obviously. So you put up barriers. You try to baby proof your home as you try to animal proof your home to the best of your ability, but you can't hide your coffee table, so your dog wants to chew on the side of the coffee table. You're like, no. And what do? Here's a hint. You rub some hot sauce on the corner of the table. If you're a pet owner, not while you're a child, not if you're a parent, a child owner, not if you are a parent, don't do that. This works for pets, not kids, okay? I know some people have to be told. So there was an Oprah episode where Oprah was promoting, as she had, this was back in the 80s or 90s, sorry. She had a guest on who put hot sauce on the toys to prevent the children from putting the toys in their mouth. So whatever. The point is, when you raise a child or a pet, there has to be boundaries. Hello, Givius. How you doing? Nice to see you. Welcome, everyone. So these boundaries are given with respect for everyone involved. There's calm authority. No, we're not pulling the cat's tail today. There's authority, but it's calm, it's cool, it's collected, it's not shouting at the child. So however parents do it today, I'm not the parental police. I certainly had my share of I needed help and I needed guidance when I was a young mother. And I made my share of mistakes, but we do better now because we see the need to be better. And many parents don't see that they're doing a disservice to their child by soft parenting. So have you noticed? I know we're talking about children right now, but we are going to get into narcissism. So just hang with me for a second, because I want to talk about if you have yourself noticed how raising children today is just different. Parenting has always required sensitivity and softness and emotional awareness, but something is off. There's an imbalance. I mean, we have parents, you go shopping in the mall, and I see, maybe not you, but I see a lot of parents having their young kids in the cart while the parent is pushing the cart along with their phone in the other hand, neglecting their child, or walking with their little toddler straggling behind, at least 5 feet behind, while the parents, both parents, one parent is on their phone. Wow. Wow. So there is something wrong. And, I get it, because soft parenting has now been the way to go to in an attempt to heal the generations of harsh parenting, punishment, and fear-based obedience. I mean, I was given the strap when I was a kid. I mean, my generation was, you go outside, when it's the weekend or holidays, you go outside and play. You're not stuck at home. You're not stuck in the house. You go outside, make your own fun, and my parents would lock the door until it was dinner time. And you come home, literally, when the lights come on, that's when you're supposed to be home already. Come home before the lights come on. Because when the lights are on, we're at dinner. And if you are, show up when dinner is served, you don't get to eat dinner. That's the way it was in my household anyways. So to get rid of and undo the generation of the harsh parenting, I get it. But the pendulum has swung from one extreme to the next. There's no happy medium. And parents nowadays are afraid to say no. I remember, a few years ago walking into the store, and I'm standing in the lineup waiting to buy some clothes, and this girl was looking at lipsticks and hair trinkets and earrings and stuff, and she's like, she was maybe 3 years old, and she was looking to her daddy, and her dad let her buy, said yes to lipstick, but the mom said no. And so the dad said, okay, we have to put this back. The child just screamed and threw a fit, to the point where the mother grabbed the lipstick and bought it for her. And then the child just stopped. And then, a few weeks ago, I came across a video that I saw twice, at different times, where the mother is pushing the shopping cart, and the 13-year-old daughter is putting stuff in the cart, and the mother is flabbergasted, like, she's telling me that I can't say no to her, or else she's gonna scream and throw a fit. Well, then let her scream and throw a fit. And the mother even noticed, now you're just grabbing anything, and you can see the smirk on the child's face, grabbing, cleaning, dish detergent or laundry soap and bleach, and just grabbing anything she sees on the shelf, she's grabbing it. And it's like, wow, isn't that holding a parent financially hostage? We would consider that abuse if a narcissist did that to us, like an adult did that to us. Why are children getting away with this? So honey can also represent temptation. The Philistine woman acts as a honey trap to deceive Samson, suggesting that sweetness is the honey can also represent temptation and deception. Well said, Robert. You're ahead of me. We're going to save that for next week. But thank you. That's awesome. I love that. All right. So that was, Robert was mentioning something, an extra, insight for our teaching that we did yesterday, our Bible study on Samson and eating the honey out of the dead carcass. I appreciate that. So, all right. So where do we go from here? Because I'm seeing that we have swung the pendulum so hard in the opposite direction that many parents are now afraid to say no. They're afraid to hold to boundaries, afraid to let their children experience discomfort. And because of that fear, children are growing up believing that frustration is oppression, rules are negotiable, and consequences are harmful instead of formative. So instead of teaching resilience, parents now are teaching fragility. Instead of raising emotionally grounded humans, parents are sometimes accidentally raising emotionally dependent ones. So my well-being is now, like, from a narcissistic perspective, my well-being is dependent on how well I can control your emotions. I need to control you so I feel safe. So I want to explore this carefully. I'm not here to shame any parents, okay? Exactly. There is no perfect parenting style. That's right. I agree with you. IRL. I totally agree with you. There is no perfect parenting style. But for some of the parents, they're, it's gone to the extreme. And with parenting, you are flying by the seat of your pants, especially with parents nowadays who have to compete with technology. And technology doesn't teach empathy. Technology is teaching violence. Just look at the gaming industry. Look at the video industry. The music industry is full of violence in the videos, and the movies that people watch is violence, 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 violence. Rom-coms are even violent sometimes. People are laughing at other people getting hurt, like, oh, it's funny. It's dark humor. No, it's not humorous. It's dark, but there's no humor about people getting hurt. So I want to shine a light on something that is quietly shaping an entire generation. Because what happens when love loses structure? And I'm not talking just about the parents parenting children in a soft or gentle way. I'm talking about maybe the soft parenting that does go sideways is because the parent doesn't have an idea or a love for themselves. They don't know what they need and what they require. It's just a thought. It's just a thought. Okay? We believe in Jesus Christ here on this channel. You're welcome to listen, but we're not here to spread the hate. We're here to acknowledge Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. Okay? And Jesus does save. All right, so as soon as you dismiss God, okay, you're not here to learn, you're not here to listen and share and grow, so I'm sorry, you have to be muted. All right, so I want to explore this carefully, okay, because love has to be the foundation. Even Paul says, if you have gifts, if you have the gift of prophecy and tongues, if love is not in it, it's meaningless. So maybe this is why soft parenting for some parents is not working, because the love that they have for themselves is not there. I mean, when a child is permitted to hit their parent in the face more than once, I mean, that's putting the child's needs before your own. Like, your child isn't hitting you on the forehead and saying, oh, gee, I'm just going to tap mommy on the forehead and make sure I don't poke her in the eye. No, gee, I'm going to throw this, like, it goes from a hand to an object. So it's like, I'm just going to pick up this pen, and I'm not going to worry about if it gouges mommy and pokes the lead tip of this pencil, pokes her in the eye, or a Tonka truck. I'm not going to worry about if it hits Tommy, my brother, in the face. You know, it's children cannot yet distinguish between reality and fantasy, and from one moment to the next. They see a parent, they're going to see, oh, my brother or sister just looks like mommy and daddy, so they don't distinguish between, you know, the maturity level. They just see, oh, mommy and daddy are taller than my brother and sister. Oh, wow. That's it. So we need to understand and get onto our child's level before we really start soft parenting. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because this is relative to how we treat our narcissistic family, individuals, spouses, children. Love has to be there. Love for us has to be there, because the love for the narcissist, we assume that the narcissist has for us, is not there. You're getting ahead of us, Robert. We are only focused on the chapter 14 for now. Oh, Robert. Shh. Don't give away the fruit yet. Gotta wait for our Bible study on Sunday. Wait. Just wait. Write it down. Write it down and share with us then. Don't give it away. So... oh, because we did Bible study lessons there yesterday on Samson. So Robert's just, you know, thinking and coming up with stuff and wants to share. No, don't worry. Don't apologize. Don't apologize. But I encourage you just to write it down and save all your comments, because you are making some really good comments. So please just, would you mind sharing them with us on Sunday? Because we are going to continue on Sunday. So, all right. So, and no apologies needed, absolutely none. I get it. It's exciting. You know, you get excited and you're like, oh, wait, here's something. Yes, that's, I do that too. So it's okay. So what happens when a child learns that tears can erase responsibility, and a parent's desire to keep peace overshadows their duty to guide? It is loving to guide a child. It is unloving to just say yes to a child all the time. So we often talk about narcissistic adults, the entitlement, the reactiveness, they're needing constant validation, unable to tolerate criticism. And then we, you know, like I've often said, a narcissist is a stunted child in an adult body. And this is what I'm seeing. Like when we look at certain modern parenting trends, and we kind of realize this, that the way we are treated by narcissists are the same way toddlers treat their parents in trying to exercise their narcissism, the natural tendencies that are against God. But people who do not know God or follow him or read the Bible, they're not knowing that there is a natural tendency that is wired into everybody. They don't understand that. They're just, oh, let me accommodate my child. He's being aggressive because he's obviously has some sort of thing going on in him and he needs to express it. Okay, let him express it in breaking crayons or coloring or drawing something. You know, get him to channel that aggression in something positive instead of using you as the punching bag. Cynthia says, if you want to get rid of a narcissist quickly, say no. Done. Exactly. So, hi, Frederick. Frederick, self-parenting is basically putting boundaries on yourself. And how God self-parents us is he shows us how to live through Jesus' ministry. Jesus teaches us, let your yes be yes, your no, no. Honor your commitments, honor your vows. When you make a vow, honor it, stick to it. Watch what you say, watch what you do, watch your thoughts. You know, the entire ministry about that Jesus speaks about to his disciples is teaching us how to live a moral and honorable lifestyle. So this is self-parenting when we are self-aware and we regulate our emotions, we regulate our thoughts, we regulate the things that we say, not just audibly, but the things that we say inside our minds about others and about ourselves. So the way that we are treating narcissists is eerily similar to the way many parents are practicing the soft parenting. It is okay to say no, yes or no, and explain why. Yes, but what Jesus was saying, you know, like, let your yes be no, or excuse me, let your yes be yes and your no, no. Any excuse is from the enemy. So, you know, it's often like when we say we're going to do something and we don't do it, that's when we give excuse. That excuse is from the enemy. But when we explain, yes, I'm doing this and here's why, you know, it's to help somebody understand so they're not left confused. Well, why would you do it that way? That doesn't make sense to me. Well, I'm doing it because of this. From my perspective, this is why I'm doing it. Oh, okay, I can see that. Okay. So when you're explaining what you're doing is to help other people understand, because maybe what you're doing, they will follow doing it. Maybe they'll, you know, maybe you're the boss and you want something done a certain way. You've got to explain the reason why so that they can get on board and do it. Because usually when people don't do things is because they don't understand and they don't want to, because they don't like how it's done or they don't like the process. And so if you explain the process to them, they're like, oh, okay, I see it now. Okay, so I can get on board and I can do it this way, right? So excuses and explaining are two different things. Exactly right. But we don't often think that. With a narcissist, we think we're explaining, but oftentimes we're reasoning. And oftentimes when we should be reasoning, we're explaining to them. So the way we treat narcissistic adults is very similar to the way that many people practice soft parenting today. We walk on eggshells around the narcissist. We soothe their emotions to avoid an explosion. We don't set firm boundaries because it might upset them. And we reward our needs over and over just to be heard. So with narcissists, we try not to trigger them. With soft parenting, some parents try not to trigger their children. But this is how children learn. When a child explodes, it's the parent's responsibility to say, I can see you're upset. Does this make you angry? I can see you're angry. I can see you're sad. So let's talk about why you're sad. You know, it's identifying feelings appropriately and addressing them appropriately. So, and I'm not here to say gentle parenting is wrong. I'm certainly not that authority. And gentle parenting, in fact, when done correctly, is profoundly healthy. I wish I did it with my kids, but I did it with one. And, the other three weren't so fortunate. But that's okay. We just learn. We learn from our mistakes. And gentle parenting without structure is not gentle at all, as the narcissist will show you that when it comes to them parenting, co-parenting. What do? They give their child everything to spite you. So in my situation, I was co-parenting with my three kids with their dad, and he had weekend visits. So when he would drop them off on Sunday evening, the kids would be so full of sugar. What'd you guys have for dinner tonight? Oh, we had pizza and pop. Well, no wonder my son was 12 o'clock at night. I can't get to sleep. No wonder the poor boy was stressed, for one thing. And then he was filled with sugar and carbs. And I try to talk to the ex about this. Like, can you please not feed them sugar before bed on Sunday? Like, they've got to get up for school and they're dragging their little behinds. Well, no, you can't talk to a narcissist. Yep, pizza and Coca-Cola, exactly. So, I mean, this is exactly what this unhealthy parenting is gentle parenting. I mean, done wrongly, the narcissists hijack it and they use it to serve themselves as they are buying their children's love. Okay, so I'm going to give you pop and chips and pizza, tonight just before you leave, and drop off time was like 8 o'clock at night. So it's like an hour before they're sitting in a restaurant having pizza at Pizza Hut, and it's like, it almost felt like, because I was the single mother, I didn't have the money to take my kids out for meals like that, but he did. So it was like, who's the better parent, guys? Who's the better parent? Look at all this I'm doing for you. I'm doing all of this for you. I'm spending my money on you guys. We go on trips. We go out for pizza. We go out for movies all the time. And looking at your mom's house, you can't do any of that. So, like, the narcissists know exactly what they are doing. They absolutely know. And, gentle parenting without structure is not gentle, it's permissive. And permissiveness breeds entitlement, not empathy. So what we are unknowingly doing in the relationship with the narcissist is we are breeding that entitlement. We're just solidifying it. We're allowing it to grow and take root in the narcissist as I get away with it, so therefore I can do it. It's not breeding empathy in them, and it won't breed empathy in them, but it certainly will start breeding empathy that we need to have for ourselves. So a healthy parenting approach requires two wings: compassion and boundaries. I mean, as much as, excuse me, great, hang on. me. Okay, good. So as much as I personally think Dr. Spock, the teacher, the author, the doctor who was a pediatrician in the 60s, he wrote some really interesting books and many people followed them. But nowadays, his thoughts are not so good. He was wrong a lot of the times, but there was one thing that Dr. Spock mentioned, which is good, that children need boundaries. They need structure. And with the narcissist, that they don't like boundaries. So having a child raised without structure, raised without boundaries, they come to expect that from other people. Like, God tells us, train a child in the ways that they will go, and when they're older, they will never leave it. So I think even in the psychology world, in the teaching, they're trying to show us that narcissism against us is personal. On a spiritual level, it is. But psychologists dismiss the spiritual aspects. So from their perspective, I'm going to say from their perspective, it's not personal. But from our spiritual perspective, it is. It has everything to do with the Genesis curse of Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. But just pushing that aside just for a little bit, from human nature standpoint, you train a child in the way that they will go, and they'll never leave it. Like, you train a child to live without boundaries, they won't leave that. So I'm going to give you myself as an example. Okay, so my mother was an alcoholic, and I had some sort of, when my sister was around, she was 10 years older than me. So when she was, in charge of babysitting me, then I had some sort of structure. But even then it was, kind of, I tagged along with her. So, but the memories that I have are when my sister was no longer living with us and I was alone in my mother's care. I had no structure because my mom was an alcoholic. So when she started drinking, it was just a matter of time before she would fall asleep and I would be left on my own. And I'd be left on my own for hours and hours and sometimes even days. And so I had no structure of discipline. So when it was time for me to go into a foster home and go to school, I hated school. I wanted to be outside. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I couldn't figure out the reason why we needed to learn. I already knew how to read and write. I knew that before I entered school because my other foster parent taught me. So why do I need to be here? Why do I need to learn about history? Why do I need to learn about math? Like I wanted to do my own thing because that's what I was raised on, doing my own thing. Climbing the counters to get cereal to eat for food, going outside and playing in the backyard. And I lost that privilege because the minute I climbed the fence to go play with the boy who was, on the other side of the fence and I was playing at his house, I couldn't wake my mom to go ask for permission because she was asleep. So his mom said, "Does your mom know?" And I lied. I said, "Yes, she does know." Because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to play. I didn't want to be by myself in the backyard. And so I climbed the fence to play at his house. So when my mom found out, she was like hours and hours looking for me. Oh, I got in trouble. Oh, I got in trouble. So then that was it. The door was locked. I was left to stay in the house, in the basement, locked with her while there was a bed in the basement and she slept and I watched TV or twiddled my thumbs or whatever I did. I don't remember. So there's a lot of imprinting there for me that says, you do something that you want to do, it's going to get taken away from you. So do what you want to do, but don't get attached to it. Go and make friends, but don't get too attached to them because they're going to be taken away from you. So this is the same with the narcissist. I believe that we all have this natural tendency in us to be narcissists, as everyone has been born with the natural nature that is naturally against God. And unhealthy parenting brings that out as we naturally explore that. We naturally explore that as we naturally explore kindness and love as well. But these are brought out in us by the way that we are treated. So train a child up in the ways that they will go and they will never leave it. Oh yeah. I still struggle. I still struggle with that. And you guys have just helped me to see something today that I just kind of pushed aside and couldn't see before, but now it's something that I need to work on. Yes, I agree, resistor. And the thing is, we're all set up. God has set us up because we are here believing that we are here on our own accord, living out the ways that we want to. Nothing that has been made has not been made unless it was made by God first, for him, by him, through him. So we are here because of God. We are here to live for him and through him. We think that we're searching for autonomy. We are for our individuality within the framework of divinity, through the framework of the image of God, which is unconditional love. Now, the narcissist, they have full autonomy outside the framework of divinity. Hi, Piano Fixer, how you doing? So with that said, okay, you're allowed to be by yourself. You're allowed to separate yourself from the Godhead, but when you separate yourself from the Godhead permanently, you're permanently isolated, and that means that you are by yourself. You're outside rules, so rules do not apply to you. The heavens' rules do not apply to you until you start acknowledging them. Until you start acknowledging them, you're living outside of the heavens' jurisdiction, so it looks like a free-for-all. Everything is up for grabs. And the narcissist doesn't ask, they take. Because when they ask, of course we're going to say no. Because we fall inside the boundaries of unconditional love, which also has a protecting quality. I love you, but my unconditional love for you does not permit you to hurt me. So is a parent being loving when they allow their child to hurt them? No. It appears like it, oh, they're just exploring. No. Where soft parenting in that way that has turned toxic is allowing the narcissism in that child to develop. We have to teach a child to be empathetic. We put our children in empathetic situations and talk to them and lead them and guide them to help them see the beauty of empathy. So many households today unknowingly remove the boundary wing because boundaries can lead to tears. Well, tears lead to conflict. Conflict feels like failure. And so a child throws a tantrum over screen time, and instead of standing firm, a parent negotiates. Now, I get it. Where parenting is like, oh, I remember what it was like when my mom said no to me and I cried and I felt upset. And the two situations are not the same. That's the long and short of it. As parents, we cannot sit there and go, oh, I remember how it used to be when I was young like that, and how my parents told me that I couldn't watch TV at this hour, and I had to go to bed at this time. And, I ate my dinner by 6 o'clock. By 7 o'clock, I was in bed. And, I remember how stifling that was. So, I'm not going to do that for my child. No, you start understanding how children operate. Children need structure. They need sleep. They need a bedtime that is set every night. If your child can't sleep when they're in bed at 7 o'clock, it's because you're feeding them too late. You want them in bed by 7 or 8, then feed them by 4 or 5 o'clock. Give them some time for their food to digest and give them an opportunity to go and run that energy off. Maybe go to the park after supper. Go for a walk. Go get some fresh air. But, what I'm trying to say is that we soft parent the narcissist. We continue where their parents left off, possibly. I don't know, because I wasn't in the narcissist household, so I can't tell for certain how they were raised. But certainly where it mattered to the child who would grow up to be a narcissist, their parents were lenient or neglectful. And that is what the narcissist is doing with us. They are the stunted child in the adult's body, and they are picking up where their childhood left off. And they see us as the parent. They don't see us as a mate. They don't see us as somebody to build a life with. They see someone that they can control. And they see us as their parent, the parent who would move heaven and earth to give the child what that child wanted. So that's why when you're with the narcissist, they don't honor rules. They don't wear their seatbelt. They don't drive at the speeding limit, because they expect you as their parent to just let them get away with it, because that's the way they were raised. Train a child up in the ways that they will go, and when they're older, they'll never leave it. The narcissist cannot leave this training because they were not taught how to properly empathize, because their parents did not love themselves. The parents did not love the child enough to say, hey, I have self-respect and I respect you. I understand you're upset, but you cannot hit me. Girl, boy, you cannot hit your mom. You cannot hit your dad. You cannot hit your sister or brother. That's unacceptable. So spare the rod, spoil the child. We have to appropriately discipline our children. But we don't know how when we are parents, because many of us who are parents are still immature. That's not a negative. That's just the fact. We're coming out of narcissistic trauma in our 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. We're all showing the signs of immaturity. We're not yet emotionally mature to know ourselves, because we never gave ourselves time to develop, because the world said, well, as soon as you're 18, you're an adult. So go get a job, go build a family, go do this. We weren't emotionally ready. It's okay. Hi, Chief. How you doing? Nice to see you. So a child may refuse chores, and instead of guiding them through responsibility, the parent does it for them. I used to do that. I'd try to get my kids to do something, and it would be like pulling teeth, and it was like a fight every time. So I just, fine, here, let me do it. I didn't help them. I rescinded the no. No, you will clean up your room. After sitting there for 2 hours, nothing done, fine. They watched me clean their room. Until I stopped, but that's how I first started parenting. And then I babysat for a loving family. It was just one time. And I babysat, and the toys were all over the living room when the parents came to pick up their child. And the dad said, let's help clean up this living room. You made the mess, so let's pick it up. And the child was like, okay. And he picked up the toys. And I'm just like, what? Because the child was meant to feel valued. The child was made to feel like they were one with the family, not an extra mouth to feed. So I took that positive influence that I saw, and I started saying to my kids, can you help me clean up this room? I'll tell you what, I know this room got really messy really quickly. How are we going to clean up? Show me where you put your toys. Which toys go where? I'm not sure which box we should put your Barbies in. Where do they go? Can you show me? Can you pick up your Barbie and show me how you place your Barbie in your box? It worked. It worked. We were cleaning up together. You know, it was awesome, and it was a good experience because then the children and I could actually talk. You know, like they opened up to me during the time of us cleaning up together. Then it came to, they were setting the table. They were wiping the table off, wiping the counters, doing the dishes as we were doing. I'll clear the table and you can get the water ready for dishes. And who wants to wash, who wants to dry? The kids always love to wash instead of drying. Okay, I'll dry. You know, they loved cleaning. Like they really engaged in wanting to wash the dishes because for them it was boring drying the plates. They actually were doing something, scrubbing the plates and making sure it was clean. And they were, you know, doing something that, you know, all kids want to please their parents, right? So they're making sure they're doing a good job because they saw that if they kept the plate dirty, well, you put that plate dirty in the cupboard, you pulled it out. Are you going to want to eat off of a dirty plate? Ugh, no. So it benefited them to clean the dishes. It's awesome. So yes, soft parenting done correctly does help. But the narcissist was taught to, well, someone else will fix your feelings. Someone else will adjust themselves so you don't have to adjust your behavior because there's no need to. The narcissist does not see, that's the thing. When you look at the narcissist from the side of self-parenting, or soft parenting or gentle parenting gone wrong, you can definitely see how the narcissist can see that there is no other option. They don't understand why you regulate your emotions. They don't understand why you tell yourself no. They don't understand why you tell other people no. They don't understand the empathy behind the reasoning that you use. So for them, all there is a yes. And here's the thing that just came to me. Thank you, Jesus. God does not say no to us. However, we have to be in alignment with God. We have to know that we are God's children. We ask with pure motives, not with, oh, I think God's going to say no. We have this beauty of yes. The reason why we are given a yes is not because of anything that we've done. Oh, thank you, Jesus. God, see, this is what I've been wrestling with, because like when I said this earlier, that it is healthy for a parent to say no. And in my mind, I heard, but God always says yes to us. His promises are yes and amen. And my mind just instantly, my logic filter, the egoic nature went, see, gotcha. And no, my heart went, no. God gives to us. God cannot say no to us. It's because of the cross. It is because and only because of the cross. There is nothing that we can do to gain God's favor. We already have it when we believe that we too were saved from our sins through Jesus Christ, his death and his resurrection. But the narcissist, they cannot go through the cross because they don't have love, they don't have empathy. And so they have to demand it. And that's the egoic nature, that's the narcissistic nature of demanding a yes, demanding, you know, this child who on video was hitting his mom. And you could tell this laugh was not genuine. He was getting a rise out of it, but not out of, you've seen kids, you've seen how they genuinely laugh. It's from the belly. This was from the throat. This was malicious. This was, I know I'm hurting you. I know I am. And why can't I stop hitting your mom? And this kid's laughing, and his laugh is basically saying, I can hit you and you're not going to do anything about it. It's laughing because it's not taking joy. It's the child is laughing because he was relishing in. He was getting away with it. He was getting a thrill of getting away with doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing. Hi, Levi. How you doing? Okay, there's a message for review. Oh. Whatever. Trolls, trolls, trolls. Be kind, people. So, for the narcissist, frustration is a friend. And growth, as how we grow, is impossible for the narcissist. Because, you know, like the narcissist doesn't want to become frustrated. Okay, so with soft parenting, however they were raised and how we continue the soft parenting, we try to have the narcissist avoid frustration, right? Because it doesn't go well for us. So we end up walking on eggshells, catering and changing ourselves to cater to them. So there's no growth with us. And we want to, have the relationship grow with the both of us. Like we want to grow together with the narcissist, but the narcissist thinks of our relationships differently. Again, like I said, they want to pick up where they left off. Where they left their mommy and daddy homes, they are seeing us as their mommy and daddy, and getting into a relationship with us is like going back into a relationship with them where they control the relationship. They control their parents' demeanor. And that's why they see us when we have money. Well, as a child, what does the parent do? Spend their money on the child. And the child doesn't have to lift a finger. So, and in the family home, everything basically that is in the house is up for the narcissist, the child, to have access to. The child can go into the kitchen, have access to the food, have access to the laundry room, have access to the TV, have access to mommy and daddy's things. But the reason why the child doesn't get into mommy and daddy's things is because mommy and daddy's clothes are too big. But you ever hear of parents sharing their clothing with their teenage kids? Yeah. And we think it's neat and fun. No, sometimes it's because the child, the teen, has been taught that what you own, I own. What is mine is yours, or what is yours is mine. And the parent just, it's okay, you can wear my cashmere sweater to the bar. Go ahead. No. So just think about it. Hello, Martha. Nice to see you. Hi. So just think about this. The next time you're dealing with a narcissist, that they are a toddler. And toddlers are tiny humans with big feelings. Their meltdowns are not just manipulation at first. It's an expression of regulation. But when every meltdown results in parents changing the environment instead of guiding the child through it, the child learns a simple equation. Dysregulation of my emotions equals I can control the room. I can cry and they change. I can yell and the boundary bends. I can have that last cookie before dinner. And I can have ice cream for dinner. So the child is taught, protest long enough and someone will rescue you from the consequences of your choices, because there won't be any consequences. And then years later, we wonder, Why does this teenager believe their emotions outweigh rules? Why is this teenager defiant? Why are they breaking the law? Why are they getting to drugs? Why are they stealing? Why are they thinking that they don't have to adhere to the rules of this house? Why do they keep sneaking out? Why does my child crumble at criticism? Why do they feel the world owes them accommodation? It's not always because they're narcissistic. It's because they grew up in a system where emotions held power instead of responsibility, and that is what brings out the narcissism in us. We all have this narcissistic trait. As God says, I'm going to repeat this. God says that we all have a nature in us that is naturally against God. So we learn that love and empathy keeps that natural nature that is against God. We learn through love and empathy that we can subdue that nature. But when a parent, or with us, when we are trying to micromanage the narcissist, we are, okay, so this starts, let's stick with the parents for a second. So soft parenting or gentle parenting that goes wrong is actually teaching the child not to empathize, not to engage with their love, but actually the love and empathy goes dormant. And the narcissistic nature is brought to life. So we are taught by the narcissist. This is why we are traumatized, because this goes against our grain. This goes against who we are. We love boundaries. We love to say no. We love to say yes appropriately. Okay, we honor our boundaries naturally. But with the narcissist, they systematically take us down out of those boundaries, those boundary keeping rules we adhere to. The narcissist systematically has us, or they walk over those boundaries to the point those boundaries dissolve. That's what they want. We've been taught, and I've said this, it is like a competition. It is. But when you start looking at this from the perspective of knowing what we know now and from scripture, I think we can get a better picture that it's competition in the way of they want us to bend our ways, and they're unbreakable, and they know it. They know. See, that's where it is. That's where the competition is. You can't change me. The narcissist goes into this relationship. You can't change me, and I'll prove it because I'll change you first. And when I change you first, you'll never be able to change me because I'll change you to accommodate my ways. I'll change you so much that you'll be bending to me and you'll be catering to my rules, because that will show you that I can't change. I'm the stronger one and you're the weaker one. That to me makes sense. So I'm going to, and this is just my belief, but I'm going to go on a limb and say this, that narcissists, and I've said this before, but now this idea is strengthened, that I really do think that the narcissist sees us as the mommy daddy figure, and they're picking up where they left off in their family home. They see us not as relationship material to get into a relationship, a loving codependent relationship, a codependent relationship that is healthy. No, they want us in a relationship where they put us in our place, where you do what I tell you to do. I'm controlling this relationship. I'm controlling this situation. The narcissist sees us as the mommy or daddy figure. So, when you can see the toxic effects of toxic, gentle parenting in a child, Fast forward 20 years. Now the adult expects partners, friends, workplaces to respond the way their parents did. And they can't name it because this is all they've ever known. So they haven't really, well, and because they can't assimilate empathy and know exactly what it is and how it operates, if they see kindness in their friend's home or whatever, if they see a different upbringing, whatever, it's ignored. They have this expectation that everybody must treat them the way that they want to be treated. And they want to be treated with no rules. What they do is perfect. So here's the dynamic where I'm going over my words here, because I just said, you know, we're supposed to treat people the way that we expect to be treated, right? Well, the narcissist has hijacked that, and they treat us the way that they expect to be treated, as they treat us so that they will be treated the way that they expect to be treated. Exactly, resistor. They are literally hell on earth. So they have hijacked every good thing that we know to be true, and they have twisted it to serve their needs. Put other people first before yourself. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. Well, we understand what that means, but they've twisted it. So they actually treat people the way that they want to be treated, in the way of they treat us in a certain way with that gains them how they want to be treated. Like, they treat us in such a way that forces us to treat them according to their expectations. And how they do that is they break us down. They break our boundaries. They have us soft parent them. They have us walk on eggshells. They have us not speak up for ourselves. They have us put them first before ourselves. Frick. I don't know. I just felt like a weight just lift off me. Like, I just feel like, so society responds to these adults the same way permissive parents respond to children: carefully, cautiously, softly, hoping to avoid their meltdown. We are training emotional negotiation instead of emotional maturity. So again, I'm not attacking parents who use gentle parenting in a healthy way. I'm just seeing how this is creating narcissists. It's feeding the beast. It's feeding the beast system. And, you know, true gentle parenting is firm. It sounds like, I know you're upset and I still love you, but the answer is still no. It says, your feelings matter, but so do boundaries, and so do my feelings. It teaches that emotional expression is welcomed, but emotional coercion is not effective. Soft parenting, when misrepresented or misinterpreted, becomes appeasement parenting or peacekeeping parenting. Parenting that confuses comfort with protection. But tears are not trauma. Disappointment is not abuse. A child can cry and still be safe. A child can feel frustrated and still be loved. But in fact, a child who is allowed to feel big emotions while the boundary remains in place learns something powerful. I can survive discomfort. I'm going to be okay. Life will not end, and life is not going to break just because I feel upset. I'm resilient. The narcissist wasn't taught emotional resiliency. So just think about this. Imagine a real scenario. A child wants candy before dinner. They cry, they scream, they roll on the floor, kick, and a permissive soft parenting reaction might be, fine, here, take the candy, please just stop crying. And immediately the child's brain records. Crying removes boundaries. This is how the narcissist sees things in their real life, in their reality. So a gentle approach would be, I know you want candy. I know it looks delicious. I get it. I understand. I want that candy too. Yeah, I feel ya. And you can feel upset all you want, and it's okay. But we will have the candy after dinner, and I will sit with you while you feel sad about it right now. So one approach removes the boundary to avoid discomfort. The other holds the boundary while supporting the discomfort, supporting the emotion. The first teaches power of emotional outburst. The second teaches safety through regulation and boundaries. And this is what boundaries are for us, and many of us don't have those boundaries. Through childhood trauma, childhood upbringing, whatever it is, and those areas where we don't have boundaries, that's what the narcissist takes advantage of. So what are we doing? Like, this world is just going to get worse and worse and worse. We know that. So real life demands resilience. And how do we gain resilience? Through tolerating discomfort safely. Looking forward for candy requires not having candy every day. Amen to that. I like that. Yeah. So through tolerating discomfort safely, through hearing no and realizing it isn't rejection, it's a direction. And the narcissist hears no as rejection. That's what they were taught. And we can't, I'm trying, okay, I know we've gone over this for an hour and a half now. However, we need to know this. We need to know this like the back of our hands, because some of us, and I used to think this, and I know I'm not alone in this thinking, that if we just stay with the narcissist, if we just accommodate them, if we just love them more, if we just appease them, if we just someday, some way, somehow, they will just one day wake up and go, oh, I have been horrible to you. I am so sorry. Can you ever please forgive me? Can you ever find it in your heart to forgive me? That's what we're looking for. But we're not going to find it, because the narcissist cannot change. They cannot change where it matters. Just as much as we cannot change where it matters. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing this. I have been trying to work on myself and change myself to suit this certain ideal pattern where I'm already empathetic. I'm already good enough. You are already good enough. Where it matters in us, we've already been in our relationship with the narcissist, we have been shown that we are unconditionally loving, and that in us cannot change. That's most important, that we do not change from unconditional love to conditional loving. Oh my gosh, that's the cat's meow. My glasses are. That's what matters. And see, the narcissist, they cannot change. They cannot empathize with us. And we're the opposite to them. We can empathize with them because we're understanding where this is coming from. We understand that they can't change, but just because they can't change doesn't mean that we accommodate their unchangeable ways. No is still no. Sorry, you're not going to go over my boundaries. Sorry, I'm not going to disrespect myself like that. Sorry, I'm not going to do that to accommodate you. Sorry, I'm not going to do that to make you happy. I'm not a people pleaser. Hi, Meredith. I saw that once too. I'm having a hard time seeing it with the Bible says we are all God's children. Yeah, we are. We are adopted as sons and daughters. So they need to repent. the narcissist needs to repent, but they never will, because that's the point. Because of the way that they were raised to put the negative first before empathy. And they live in this negative zone where empathy doesn't matter. They cannot, once empathy is gone, it can't, like, we're dealing with a feral child here. You guys know anything about feral children? Feral children are kids who were abandoned at the age of 5, or some kids were even abandoned at the age of 8. But the human brain is always developing, and it's developing until, like, I think we're 32 or something like that. But however, the foundation of the brain development stops at age 5. And at age 5, the certain brain waves within the brain take over and develop another area of the brain. So the very foundation of the brain, where communication and bonding is concerned, stops at age 5. And Carl Jung has noted this, and this is where we become self-aware, or we become self-actualized, where we start detaching ourselves from our parents and start doing things on our own. So feral children who have been abandoned by, the cutoff zone at, age 5 or before. I mean, there's true stories where kids have been raised by monkeys and wolves. And those people who have been found, there have been stories, and they've been called the wild men, the wild child, wild men, and girls. And the documentation supports that when these people have been brought back into society, and they've been people try to rehabilitate them, they are unable to understand and communicate the way that we do, using sentences, using our emotions. These people may be able to communicate. They may learn 1 or 2 sentence structures, like me hungry, me tired. They may be able to get that far in communication, but their feelings are dysregulated, that they don't know how to properly manage those feelings. So when they're frustrated, say because somebody can't understand that they're hungry, they may be like, like these feral children do grunt, and they growl. If they were raised by dogs, they, like wolves, they will act like a wolf. But they'll mimic the wolf, but the internal structure that makes a wolf is not there. It's their self-preservation mode kicks in, and yeah, they'll hunt like a wolf, or they'll live like a wolf. And this animalistic lifestyle has replaced their humanistic domestication, and they can't be domesticated again. Now, some feral children have been able to live on their own with follow-up care, or they have been institutionalized and they live in the institution. And I can see a bit of this because, like I said early in this video, that with my upbringing, my mom was passed out drunk all the time, so I was on my own all the time. So I got to rule the house, watch TV when I wanted, go to sleep when I wanted, got to eat what I wanted. I played outside, I had no rules. So then when I was in foster care and 7 years old, and 2 years prior, I was like living basically on my own, without attention, without people telling me what to do. Suddenly I'm in school, having to learn and sit there, and I could do it, but I hated it. Grade 4, I was getting D's on my report card because I didn't see the value of school, because nobody was there to teach me. My mother did not teach me these skills. So with feral children, if you're not taught these skills at all by a loved one or by anyone, you're gonna lose it. And that's the point of the brain capacity. Your brain develops, but the foundational neurons, the neuronal pathways for love and care and compassion, they are set at age 5. And if they are not used consistently, like they're not in feral children, they go away, they evaporate, they disintegrate, and you can't get those back. And that's what we're seeing with the narcissist. The narcissist in their childhood was taught no was not an answer. So that's what they expect with us. No is don't tell me no. You can't tell me no. And if we tell them no, they're going to lose the gasket. Because that's what they did in their childhood. And they look at us as a parent because the narcissist is basically using our relationship with them as a way to regulate their self-esteem, to regulate their lives, because they don't fit in this life where there's a life. This life is a life of give and take. You know, and they're just the takers. They're the takers. And they have to learn how to mimic how to give so that they can receive. But when their feelings are involved, don't tell me no. And I'm going to rage at you in order to get what I want, because that's what they did with their parents. So, narcards are dangerous, jealous, brain-damaged individuals. Period. Exactly. Joe says, I was a daydreamer in grammar school. I had a hard time paying attention. Exactly. Me too. So do you think they can change but don't want to be? They can't change. That's the point. A feral child doesn't look, oh, gee, I can change, because they've never known anything different. See, the reason why we can make the distinction is because we were in situations that were narcissistic and traumatic. I'll use myself as an example. My relationship with my mom was extremely narcissistic and traumatic. And because of our alcoholism, the social services came in and stepped in and put me into foster care. Into foster care where maybe it wasn't necessarily healthy, but at least I got the attention. At least I was talked to. At least I was given structure. At least I was put in foster care where there were other kids my age, where I could learn empathy and I could learn how to, you know, be a healthy kid. And I had, you know, like I said earlier, I had an older sister. She was 10 years older than me. So I had some sort of structure in the beginning of my lifetime. So where my mother was an alcoholic, my sister would take care of me. But there was an event in my family where my sister was made to go live with her father. So I was left home with my mom for a few years before I was put into foster care. So I was, you know, I learned to flip-flop back and forth between being like a feral child, being on my own, to learning empathy, learning how to, you know, hold space for myself and hold space for other people. But when there's just the narcissist is catered to all the time, go look up go look up soft parenting. Soft parenting gone wrong. Just look it up. You'll see it. You'll see the parents are taking videos of their kids going wayward, like screaming and throwing temper tantrums now. You'll see it, like it's all over my Instagram, because I guess that's what the algorithms I've seen a few, you know, for research, and now I've got toddlers screaming their heads off and smiling and the parents like, don't scream at me, and the child has given the duping delight smirk. Like kids know. Like, there is intelligence. Just because a toddler cannot, well, just because an infant cannot know how to walk yet or crawl, doesn't mean that they're dumb and stupid. There is intelligence within that brain. And they're thinking and they're taking everything in, and they're seeing how they're being interacted with. They're seeing how mommy and daddy interact with each other, and how mommy and daddy interact with their sibling. And so when the child is old enough to and mature enough to have the speech patterns, they are going to mimic and do what they see that was done, that they saw done to, they're going to treat their siblings the way that they saw their mommy and daddy treat their siblings. And they're going to treat their mommy and daddy in the way that they see their siblings treat their mommy and daddy. It's all mimicry. And so with a narcissist, they have learned right from the get-go. Their brain developed and solidified towards this upbringing because they were shown apathy more than they were shown empathy. So the brain structure, the neural pathways, the circuitry actually solidified towards apathy, and the circuitry that was forming, that formed for empathy, disintegrated because it wasn't used often. There is a saying, mental muscle, if you don't lose it, you lose it. That's true. Like with the developing brain, how we develop is through repetition. Okay, so that's why as adults we hate repetition, because that's how we learned. That's how the brain actually developed. We repeated behaviors, we repeated emotions, we repeated thoughts and speech. We repeat to learn. But if you stop that repetition before it had a chance to solidify, and you stop that repetition, then what you learned, you unlearn. That's why for me, I'll use me as an example, I got kicked out of French in grade 7 because I didn't want to learn it. But I went into French in grade 9, 10, and 11. But I did it not because I wanted to learn. I did it because it was my dad, my foster dad, wanted me to learn the language. So I did it for him, and I did it because, I just wanted to please my parents. Didn't work. But the thing is, now that I'm no longer in school, I don't use French. So it never solidified in me. So I understand some French words. I can speak some French words, but to hold down a conversation and to have coherence in that conversation, no, it's gone. Because the neural pathways are not there anymore. But because I have retained some of the words through repetition at school, the verbs, il est, tu as, elles ont, vous avez, vous êtes, all of that, I can understand that. So the neural pathway to relearn French is there. So I can still learn French. But had I not memorized and learned the building structure of the French language, if that was gone, it would be gone. I have to start right from the beginning and retrain myself. But since I've learned, I've taken in the basic fundamentals of the French language to learn it, then I can build up where I left off. So, and that's kind of what the narcissist does. They take what they've learned and they build up where they left off in their family homes. They don't see us as individuals. They see us as their parents, their mommy and daddies, who, when they were younger, bullied their parents into getting what they wanted. And that's what we do. That's what we are here for in the narcissist life. So, as we know, narcissists cannot tolerate shame, criticism, or frustration because no one taught them how to work through these structures. The narcissist demands validation because internal validation never developed. They expect expectations because boundaries historically bent around them. They believe emotions must be managed eternally because They never learn to manage them, or they believe that emotions must be managed externally because they never learned how to just sit with their feelings and work through it. So they weaponize hurt, they weaponize pain, they weaponize emotions. So here's the thing, when we trigger, again, I'm going to go against the grain because this video to me is making sense to me. And if I can explain it to help it make sense to you, maybe this will help you understand who the narcissist is so you will be able to better manage your own emotions, because I'm now believing the trigger is not what we think. When we are triggered by the narcissist, whether they provoke us or not, for whatever reason they provoke us for, when we are engaging in our feelings and when we rage, and they seem to be glad that we rage, it is a sense of control for them, but it also gives them the permission, and it also confirms to them that their reaction is valid. See, they're reacting just like I did, so I'm not wrong. And that's why they're smiling. I'm not wrong. See, look at Shannon's freaking out. She's going ballistic, just like how I do. So, and people are telling me that I'm wrong? No, she's doing exactly what I do, so they're wrong. They're telling me I'm wrong. No, she's just like me. Like, I'm just like her in the way that, we both freak out. We don't have a managed, wow. So that gives them the permission to keep doing what they're doing. But where it differs is they have no empathy, so they can't understand where we're coming from, so they can't change and say, oh my gosh, I made you upset. Oh my gosh, I didn't. Calm down. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'll fix this. I'll make it better. I'm sorry. No, they can't do that. They just sit there and gloat. Yeah, you're no different than me. And people call me bad. Well, that must mean you're bad too, because you're no different than me, because you're freaking out like I do. And the only difference between me and you is that I know how to get what I want when I freak out. You're not going to get anything from me while you're freaking out. That's it. Oh my gosh, this is... So again, I want to say we treat narcissistic adults with the same emotional caution we use with boundary-less toddlers, because both lack tolerance and discomfort. The behavior patterns match. Even if the psychological origins differ, it doesn't matter. It matches. A toddler that doesn't have empathy is going to freak out. A narcissist that doesn't have empathy is going to freak out. So what would break the cycle? Balanced parenting, soft heart, strong spine. So the Pharisees are in the New Testament. They're the scribes and the teachers of the law. That's how they are promoted in Scripture. They're the ones that Jesus talked about. You brood of vipers, you're brood of snakes. Your father was the devil, for he was the murderer in the beginning. So anywhere that it talks about scribes or teachers of the law, that was called the Sanhedrin, or the Council of God. And the Pharisees and Sadducees. Pharisees are actually named in the Bible, and so are the Sadducees. And together they formed one group, which was called the Council of God, or the Sanhedrin. And the Sanhedrin in the New Testament made up of the priesthood, the ones who could go before the Holy of Holies and before the Ark of the Covenant and pray to God. And they were basically the rulers of the religion, so to speak. So, yeah. So compassion and accountability go hand in hand. A child cries, we breathe with them. We don't break for them. But that's what we end up doing with the narcissist. So with a child, we can say, I love you. I love you enough to tell you no. And this is what unconditional love is. We just don't know how to exercise it because we're not yet mature in it. So when we treat the narcissist, see, the narcissist thinks like we are their parent. So why not give them what they want? Take on the role of the parent, but as an unconditionally loving parent, and say, you know what? I understand your point, but my word is still no. I'm not going to allow myself to be disrespected by that. You cannot talk to me like that. You know, it helps to put them in a role as well as seeing them as a feral child, a wayward child. And you have to parent. As you have to self-parent yourself, this is the only way that you are going to come out winning in the end. And even after the narcissist, you learn to self-parent yourself. You learn to start understanding what do I want in life? What are my goals? What are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? And we are obligated to ourselves. We honor ourselves as God is one with us. So we honor God, because when we honor ourselves, we are honoring God. So we start to understand who we are. We understand our emotions. We regulate our own emotions so that we can understand how dysregulated the narcissist's emotions are. Because let's face it, if we don't understand our own emotions, how can we understand the narcissist? And this isn't to understand them so that we can change them. They're not changeable. Okay? They cannot change. They are children of the enemy. That's the way they came out of the womb, and that's the way they were raised. So the way that they were raised with this toxic self-parenting brought out and just solidified who they were always meant to be. Okay? So let's not say, oh, poor narcissists, they were raised wrong. No, even us, we were raised the way that we were meant to be. We are loving people, loving, caring, unconditionally loving people. And we had to learn by upbringing or by the torture of trauma in order to see that exactly who we are. Because you can't see who you are without contrast. So when we learn to validate our own feelings, we see how narcissists are trying to invalidate our feelings because their feelings are invalid to them. They use their feelings to gain something, not to learn and not to empathize. Feelings are meant to be used to empathize with people. That's why we feel sadness. That's why we feel anger, so that we understand what other people feel like, so that we can give to people. Not to appease them, but to help them become better people. If I can understand your anger, then I can probably come up with ways to get the job done without us becoming angry about it. We don't have to tap into the anger. It's like, you know, anger can fuel you to do good things in life, or anger can fuel you for revenge. So feelings any feeling that you're going through, whether it's negative or positive, it's a feeling. And we put the filter of judgment on it. It makes us feel bad, so therefore we feel bad. And we have turned on ourselves because, oh, we feel bad, that must mean we are bad. No, this bad feeling is to keep us away from going further in that feeling, going further in that decision. And sometimes we feel bad to help us. Okay, well, why do I feel bad? We think about it and we think of a way out, a solution. Oh, I didn't see that before. Because a lot of times we're too upset that we can't see the truth. So we have to deal with the feeling of being upset so that we can see the truth. But oftentimes in our emotional immaturity, we just let this feeling of being upset happen and take control, that we'll never find the truth. We find the truth years after. Oh my gosh, that's what that really was. That's what brings us our aha moment. We would have been given the truth years ago if we'd stop giving into our feels and stop allowing our feelings to control us. We are meant to use our feelings for good, not for bad. And the narcissist uses our feelings and uses their feelings for bad, but they think it's good. They get what they want. And see, with God, we are supposed to ask of God what we want, and he will give it to us. But the narcissist, they take because they can't ask God, because God is not giving to them what they want. They may look like they have whatever they want, but they have gotten what they have in life through taking for themselves from other people. That's why we go to God and ask, because when God gives, he may take from other people so that we can have, as people might be, inspired to give to us, give a shirt, give, money, give food, give whatever. But it's not taking from them so that they're going without. So God knows who can give and who cannot. But the narcissists, they don't care. I see you've got a job, so I'm going to take from you. Well, you're like, I'm just barely getting by in my job. I don't care. You've got a shovel. I need a hole dug, so I'm going to take your shovel. But that's the only shovel I have. Tough. I'll give it back. Are you sure you're going to give it back? Well, maybe I'll decide. Because the narcissist thinks that because you're friends with them, whatever you have, they own. So they're not, and especially when they take something that they know is of value to you, they definitely will not take care of it. They'll give it to you broken or cracked in some way. It won't be returned to you the way that it was when they first borrowed it or took it. It's going to come back to you broken because they don't care. They're not sentimental individuals. They're not people that care about what you care about. They can't empathize. So understand this, because you cannot change them. And it's not your job to change people. It's your job to change you. It's your job to change your behavior and your thoughts to mold towards the unchangeable I am that's in you. You're already unchangeable in your unconditionally loving nature. Now it's time to make it known in everything you do. So when we as human beings learn that our feelings are valid, but our feelings don't rule us, that is when we learn humility. A narcissist can never learn humility. They're past that. They're past it. So yes, gentle parenting was intended to form and raise strong children. It teaches emotional intelligence with structure. It corrects harsh parenting without coddling. It says, I will not shame you, but I also will not indulge behavior that harms you. So it's parenting with love that is warm but firm, and that is unconditionally loving. Unconditional love is firm but fair. And the only reason why we have this free gift where God says yes to us is because we have the cross. Be mindful of the cross. That is unconditionally loving. God loved us unconditionally. So the issue is not about softness, it's softness without a backbone. We got to get our backbone back in these narcissistic relationships. So imagine if we applied the same principle to how we treat, the principles in soft parenting that are true and trusted. Imagine applying those same soft parenting principles to how we treat narcissistic adults and ourselves. Instead of accommodating their fragility or ours, we hold boundaries calmly. Instead of avoiding conflict to keep peace, we protect peace through truth. We say, okay, I get it. Your feelings are hurt, but your feelings are yours to manage. They're your responsibility as my feelings are mine. And I'm not here to absorb your feelings. That's not what I'm here to do. So if you want a relationship with me, we can talk, we can go out to dinner, we can go on, for coffees and stuff like that. But I am not here to manage your feelings. I am not your parent, and I'm not here for that. So if that's what you want, go find somebody else, because we're done. I mean, of course you don't say it like that, but with me, I got no more shits to give. Pardon me, but I don't. I'm done dealing with narcissists. I've got enough trouble of my own dealing with my own ego. I don't need to deal with anybody else's right now. Like, seriously. So it's time to just stop micromanaging the narcissist. Okay, so we gotta get a handle on this. And I'm thinking that if we start soft parenting ourselves, and essentially that's what we do when we're applying 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8 in our lives. So, holy cow. So applying soft parenting to narcissists. I said holy cow because I've just got so much to talk on this topic, and already I'm keeping you guys. We're here 2 hours. Wow. Thanks for hanging with me. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please return to this channel. We are here twice a day, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock in the evening, Eastern time. And, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because we've got lots of topics. I mean, you're going to want to come back and watch the previous lives. There's lots of information. And there is even a special link today in the description of this video. This link takes you to my ebook that I wrote. And it's called Talk the Talk, Asserting Your Way into Healthy Relationships. It helps you to, it's just being assertive, but it's what we could consider soft parenting ourselves. Standing in boundaries and knowing what to say in front of a narcissist, knowing what to look for so we're not caught off guard and we're like, and freeze as we don't know what to say. When you come out of those conversations where you're like, why did I say yes to that? I don't want to. That's what being assertive means, where you can stand strong in confidence in yourself to say no, but in a respectful way and in a way that also honors the narcissist or the toxic individual, so they're not blowing in their top or executing revenge on you by sidelining your workplace or your home life. There is a way to communicate with a narcissist that gets you what you want, gets you what you need, without being a narcissist to them and without them showing you their narcissistic tendencies. It's called being assertive. It's called assertiveness because you've got boundaries, because you love yourself. Now, it's not just about teaching you what to say. It's also about loving yourself so that you can say these things and be assertive. See, psychologists say, oh, well, here's the words that we got to give you. This is what you say to a narcissist. This is how you want to act in front of a narcissist. This is how you want to. It's going to fall flat if you don't first love yourself. When you love yourself, you feel comfortable and confident enough to speak up for yourself and say, I realized that was a backhanded comment. Maybe you weren't sure, maybe you didn't think that I would realize, but I do see it. And I'm going to give you this one chance. If you do it again, I will have no choice but to leave the room or leave the relationship or leave the conversation. It's up to you, however you want to word it. But you can't speak like that until you are confident in yourself. And I'm going to share this with you. I have experience with this just of late, like within a couple of months ago. Someone who I consider to be toxic in their demeanor, narcissist, approached me with a job opportunity. And yeah, I need the money, but I'm not going to work for this person. No way. And so I simply said no. And they asked, well, why do you say no? And I said, well, because of the situation. As this person shared with me, that how the situation was and how they needed an extra hand, but this job needed more extra hands than just myself and this other person. And so I said no. And they said, well, why? And I said, because this is too rushed. This isn't, I said, we'd have to go and talk to people and vet them and see if they're able to do the job that we need done. And so this would be a contract. And when do we start the project? Like ASAP? Well, we need at least 2 weeks to vet people properly. And we can't really train people on the job. Like, we have to, this is your reputation on the line and mine. So we have to vet people who are able to, they already know what they're doing. We don't have time to vet people and train them on the job and go behind them and clean and do their work for them and teach them, okay, we got to do this. We don't have time for that. So this is a no. This is not prepared. And I was surprised at myself because I took initiative and said, no, this needs to be done. That I took charge, as if I put myself in the role of, okay, if I was the boss in this contract, this would need to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, that. There's too many variables, too many things that can go wrong, and I'm not going to be strapped for doing this job by myself on a time crunch and doing a bad job and hurting myself in the process. So no. And I was just like, I walked away from that. And I was just like, there would be a time 2 years ago, I would have immediately said yes to people please this person. And so I'm telling you that speaking up for yourself takes self-love. You've got to love yourself, because if you don't, holding yourself to boundaries with the narcissist and saying yes or no with the narcissist in a way that is assertive is going to fall flat, because they will find a way, because this person tried to find a way to get me to say yes. And I kept saying no, no, no. They finally listened to my no. But I love myself. I'm not going to put myself in danger. I'm not going to risk doing this. It was just a bad idea. It was just a bad idea. And it reminded me of the times when I had to say no to my ex-husband when he came up with a business idea that, I said, he's like, what do you think about having bison on our land? And I'm like, no. And he's like, why? I go, for one, we don't have the fencing. We don't have the money to put up the fencing. We don't have the proper grass. So the field would have to be reseeded. We don't have the farm equipment. We don't have the farm equipment to haul bales of hay or whatever. I don't even know what bison eat. So we don't have the money if they need vet care. We don't have the money for the proper fencing, because I know that they can jump over a cow fence. So we would need like an elk fencing. We would need this and that and this and that and this and that. And I don't know anything about raising cattle, let alone bison. So the answer is no. And he's like, you always want to keep me under your thumb. And I'm like, no, this is just practical. I'm not going to put myself in danger. And I said, and besides, you're off at the rigs. It would be me doing this. And bison are worse than cattle. Bison are mean. Like they are, you think a bull is mean? Bison are brutal and they will kill you. Like, oh, I'm just like, no way. No freaking way. And by myself, raising our young daughter on this farm, no way. We would need to hire people. Don't have the money for that. So no. Well, you want to stifle everything I say. No, this is sticking up for myself. And that's what this this interaction a few months ago felt like. It was like, I'm sticking up for myself. I love myself. That's why I was able to say no. I love myself. I wasn't putting other people's needs first. I was putting my needs first before somebody else because they didn't have, they were only giving me information that they wanted me to know, and I had to probe and ask questions, and then I got the truth out. And so they were trying to manipulate my yes. Oh my gosh. So this is an instance where you do need to put yourself first, ask the proper questions so that you can make an informed decision. You're an idiot. Oops. Joe, I accidentally, there we go. Hi, I was calling Wiss an idiot because he said I looked like a man. Whatever. Hello, bro, you look like a woman. Yeah, you're an idiot. Sorry, don't have time for you. So you've taken up too much time of our time already. So self-respect requires self-love. All right? So, yeah, well, he wanted us to have cattle, and I said no. But he suggested bison because I wouldn't eat beef. So, but I like bison meat, but I said no. So, because I said I'm not gonna raise cattle because I don't believe in killing animals. And he's like, well, you eat bison. And I said, well, I used to like bison, but I don't anymore because I'm a vegetarian now. So I don't eat any kind of meat. I was like, and I'm not going to raise cattle anyways because it's, so many different things. But anyways, over and done. It's all good. So you got to maintain firm boundaries. And so with the narcissist, you have to know yourself. You absolutely have to know yourself when it comes to a narcissist because they are going to use every trick in the book to get you to go against your own word. So if they can easily manipulate you out of your own decisions, then they can control you. So, yeah. Self-love has its benefits. It's not about putting you first before other people. It's putting you first before people who don't put you first. Putting yourself before people who just want to sideline you and manipulate you and hurt you, that's actually a good thing that you put yourself first, right? Right. So maintain those firm boundaries. Be neutral. Be calm in your communication. Don't escalate. When you involve yourself in self-love, when you learn to love yourself, you learn to regulate your emotions. You learn to breathe. You learn to accept yourself. And when you love yourself, there's a sense of consistency there. Your boundaries are upheld regardless of your reactions. You are steady. You are like a parent guiding a child through frustration. Okay? Parents need to be consistent. Inconsistent parenting is what harms a child. So understand this, that in children, soft parenting failed when boundaries were avoided to prevent tears. With narcissists, the same principles succeeded when boundaries are maintained out of respect for both parties. So you are not trying to make the narcissist happy. You're not trying to avoid a meltdown. You are guiding interactions with clarity, firmness, and dignity, which is the true essence of the soft, gentle approach to parenting. So when you're with a narcissist, whether they're a parent, whether they're your child, whether you're their significant other or a professor or a doctor, whoever you're interacting with, you have to take the parental role. They put you in that role in the first place, and they're not going to take you out of it because they are trying to control you as they controlled their parents. So that's the only way this is going to get, this is the only way to see it. You want to win? Well, they do say if you want to win against a cheater playing poker, you got to play the game how they play it. You got to learn how to cheat, because you can't expect to play, or you can't expect to win the game of poker with a cheater. You can't expect to win by playing by the rules. So you want to win against a poker player who cheats, then you got to learn how to cheat. So this is what we do. With the narcissist, they put you in the position of their parent. So then you, okay, I'll see you one. I'll see you $10 and raise you 20. Because how you raise the game is you don't play by their rules. Okay, you want to see me as a parent? Let's do this. I'll treat you as a parent, and you treat the narcissist as a child. Yeah, I said that. I'll treat you as a parent. Sorry, you know what I meant to say. The narcissist treats you as a parent, so you'll say, oh, I'll treat you as a parent, meaning that I'll be the parent figure, and I'll treat you as a child, but not the child that gets away with stuff. I'll treat you the same way that I treat myself, because I self-parent myself. So I don't allow myself to get away with this, so I'm not going to allow you to get away with it either. Fair is fair. And you'll see that when you self-parent them as you parent yourself, it's the same thing as when I've used this example. People teach us that we have to give. Well, Jesus says, give if you can. Go look it up. He says, give if you can, if you are able. I think those are his words. Give if you are able. But people teach us, oh, we got to give. Even our last $5, we got to give. Well, I use this example a lot, that if I have an apple and we're both hungry, but you don't have an apple, what am I going to do? Am I going to give the apple to you so that I go hungry and you're satisfied? I have an apple and we are both hungry. So how do we solve this dilemma? How do we satiate both our hungers where we both win? I cut the apple in half and I keep one half for myself and I give you the other half. That's how we both win. That's sharing. That's unconditionally loving. That's putting boundaries on. I'm not going to give you everything because I still am in need. So I'm going to give us both. I'm going to share. And sharing is caring. That's the way the Bible wants it. That's the way of heaven, is we share. Freely give as it was freely given to you. And this is the same thing. We just turn it around on the narcissist. Okay, you want me to parent you? Okay, fine. I can do that. Because I parent myself, I'm not going to give you different rules. I'm going to give you the same rules that I give myself. So I'm going to share my boundaries with you. I won't do that thing, so I'm not going to ask you to do that thing. And I won't do it for me, so if you want me to do it, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say no, because I say no to myself, so I'm going to say no to you. Ha! And you watch, the narcissist they'll go find somebody else eventually. So, soft parenting works on the narcissist too, as soft parenting works with you. You cannot treat the narcissist in one way and treat yourself in another. This is what is setting us up for cognitive dissonance. And we're blaming the narcissist for trauma bonding us and for building in us the cognitive dissonance. It was already there. We need to just start parenting ourselves, and that is how we deal with the narcissist, by parenting them the way that we parent ourselves. So soft parenting, the soft parenting model works with narcissists when it's applied with respect and firmness for them and for us. You're showing yourself and the narcissist that you value your well-being as well as theirs without ceding control of your boundaries. So you don't have to, we're not supposed to walk around hating the narcissist. Okay? So understand that the narcissist is a stunted child in an adult's body. They've got demons. They're demon attached or demon possessed. That's fine. But you treat them the way that Jesus treated the Pharisees and Sadducees. He knew who they were. You're a brood of vipers. You're of the devil. You're made in your father's image. Your father was a murderer from the beginning, and so are you. You're murderers too. You're evil. You don't speak my language. You're of the enemy. So what did Jesus do? He knew exactly how to handle them with boundaries. We can do the same. Our boundaries are absolute. They're resolute. So if you're ready to finally hold a narcissist accountable without fear, without panic, and without steamrolling your boundaries, I've created something for you. You don't have to freeze when they push you back. You don't have to walk on eggshells anymore or give in to their demands just to keep the peace. You do deserve respect. You deserve calm. You deserve control over your own life. So I've put together an ebook called Talk the Talk, Assert Your Way into Healthy Relationships. The link is in the description of this video. It's available right now to download. And inside, I'll walk you through the real scripts and practical examples you can practice so you can communicate with authority and with clearness and calmness while your confidence shines. Because I share with you how to love yourself as well. You'll learn how to address manipulation directly while standing firm within your boundaries without losing your voice or your peace. So it's time for change, okay? It is. We got to change because it's not working by staying the same, is it? So it's time to stop giving the narcissist leniency, and it's time to stop giving into fear. And no more shrinking to make others comfortable. We stop that right now. This is your moment to rise with strength and speak in a way that commands respect. You're not fighting to gain respect. It's just automatic through the words that you speak and how you hold yourself in confidence, because how you think about yourself actually is projected out there. You may not speak it, but people can feel it. So this is your moment to rise with strength and speak your way that commands respect. Not demands, just commands. There's a difference. So grab your ebook today. The link is in the description. So if you would also like to talk about, what you're going through, your situation, because you're ready to get clear on defining what you want in life and you need help breaking free emotionally, well, I'm here for you. Book an appointment with me, your life mentor, as I am a peer support mentor. I'm here for you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to listen and support you. So you can book an appointment and let's get started on your emotional freedom today. The link for your one-on-one chit chat with me face to face so we know each other is real. Well, the link is in the description of this video and also in the chat. So thanks for hanging with me, guys. Wow, there's a lot to say about this. So I hope you learned something today about how safe parenting is something that we're unknowingly doing in our narcissistic relationships, where safe parenting does not keep the peace. And you're not going to be able to convince the narcissist. That's not why we adopt the assertiveness. We're not here to change the narcissist. We're here to live our lives the way that we were meant to. And just like Jesus, he was assertive, we can be assertive too while holding our ground and honoring ourselves while keeping the peace as we are peacemakers. So we learn what to do. Hold our boundaries. Say no when we mean it. Say yes when we mean it. And don't let anybody bully you or convince you otherwise. When somebody is trying to convince you to do something, it's because they want you to do it because it benefits them. So instead of saying yes automatically, go and say, let me give some time to think about it. Let me think about it. You know what? Give me a few days and I'll get back to you. Because the narcissist wants you to automatically say yes. If they're really serious, and they come back to you and try to, did you give some time to think about it? Why do you have to think about it? Why can't you just answer me now? That's a narcissist. But somebody who really respects you, they will come back and they will say, have you given some time? It's been a few days. Have you given some time to think about it yet? I really would like your answer on that. You know what? I've thought about it and I don't think it's going to be a good fit for me. My answer is no. But I appreciate your perspective and you have given me lots to think about. And I have thought about it, but my answer is still no. That's what you do. So the best thing for a narcissist is us all being gone. Exactly. And they can freaking feed on each other. But slow down when someone wants something. Exactly. Have a blessed day, Robert. Yeah. So... yeah, it does take training, and you guys have helped me to do that for myself, and you guys have trained me up, so I'm here to give that back to you in these videos, in my time spent in one-on-one consultations, in ebooks, in conferences. I'm here for you guys, so thank you very much, and I appreciate your time today. This has been a good video, so if you guys want to support this channel, as your support through purchasing the ebooks or even a donation helps us to stay here. I've got rent to pay, landlord's calling. That's why I'm promoting my book. And if you go on Ko-Fi, you'll see lots of other books that you might want to purchase. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right, but it's up to you. You decide. Anyways, thank you, everyone. And yeah. We're here twice a day, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock in the evening, Eastern time. And yeah, hit the notification bell to let you know when we come on. There's videos, there's lives, there's podcasts, there's membership where you can get involved in meditations. So yeah, we're here for you. This channel has you covered. We do Bible studies. So yeah, so come back. We'd love to see you again. It was nice to meet you and nice to see all of you again. Good afternoon and God bless. So. Okay, so before I go, I'm looking at your chats here. So. Hi, True Engagement. Off subject. Krazer says your jewels aren't activated. Okay, hello Krazer, how you doing? 9 realms is confusing. Sheol, Hades, Gehenna, Hell, 1st, 2nd, 3rd heaven. That's a little too much. Oh, you want to? Oh, that's a Bible study. Gehenna is and Sheol are, Hell and Hades are 2 different places, and there's only 2 places. So yeah, so that is confusing. It is confusing. But you win by not playing. Hi, American Man says there's 9 realms. Earth is the most dangerous realm for souls. Yeah. Heaven and earth are 2 separate, different places. Well, heaven isn't within our hearts. We bring heaven to earth. The more you live for Jesus, the more you live for unconditional love, the more you see heaven, the more you live heaven, the more you embody it. Jesus brought heaven to earth by him walking on water and working out these miracles. Heaven has no boundaries, so nothing can stop heaven. Nothing can put boundaries on heaven. So that's why Jesus was able to walk on water, change water into wine, heal the sick, cast out demons, raise the dead, and that's what we are to do too. So the more you walk in alignment with unconditional love, the more you see heaven, because you are the realm of heaven. So I'm going to leave it on that note. Thank you everyone for joining, and it's so nice to see you. Welcome. God bless you. Does God know our private prayers in our heads? Absolutely, Dr. D. He certainly does, because Jesus is in us. The Spirit of God is in our blood. As God says, that life is in the blood. Anybody who eats raw blood is to be cut off from the kingdom of heaven in the Old Testament. So God breathed the breath of life into Adam's nostrils, and he became a live, coherent, thinking, methodical being. So the image of God is spirit, and the Spirit of God is a wind. The wind is our breath, and in the makings of the Spirit involves love, unconditional love. That's God's image. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. So memorize that, and you can't go wrong as you apply it to yourself and apply it to people. So thank you, everyone. I love you, and I will see you tonight. So bring your questions, your comments, suggestions, and we'll see you. And don't forget to download this ebook. It's something that I believe you will find inviting. And if you do download it, you are welcome to ask me questions, comment, and share with me what you think, because I do want my writing to get better. So thank you, everyone. God bless. See you tonight. Bye-bye.